So as an actor, you get to dig into a lot of stuff this season with
Yep.
BMickey. Talk to me about what that's like for you and what intrigued you about his character arc this season.
I love periodic pieces. I love being able to go back in time. I love nostalgia. My first ever project I ever did was New Edition Story, and that was what, 83, 84, all the way through 88. And just getting a glimpse of what I can do, and being able to experience history. I love that. I didn't really know too much about BMF from Meech or Terry or their storyline. The only thing I heard about Meech was they know I'm big Meech, Larry Hoop. So being a part of this project, and once I got the script and reading it, analyzing it, the dialogue or what have you, I wanted to be a part of this project. I wanted to be able to educate this generation on what was, and the fact that I could be a part of that was amazing. What grasped me up toward, and you said, what was the other part of the question? You said BMickey.
Well, what's intriguing about his story arc this
Yeah.
season?
Oh, and what's intriguing is the first season you got a little bit of a glimpse of his animal savvy killing side, but this season I wanted to represent more of a relatable character for the audience to be watching. BMickey, I wanted people to see BMickey as a human being. You know what I mean? You see more of a spiritual side of him. You see the situations and experiences that he goes home to, the people that he goes home to. And that is all parallel to his mother. That's all parallel to the 2 homicides and the gun that's being held over his head. And as an audience, as a fan, you're able to watch BMickey, and I hope some people can see themselves in him. He represents that everyday corner boy gangster that you see on the corner, on the west side, but you don't see the people and the situations and experiences that they live through. And that was my main objective when it came to portraying this character and being consistent in his story. I didn't want to be too stagnant. I wanted levels to this shit. You know what I mean? And hopefully you saw this season a total difference from last. And yeah.
So you mentioned Detective Bryant holding the gun over BMickey's head.
Yeah.
Do you think he's justified in doing that? Because as you mentioned, BMickey is a killer, but he has a humane side. There was a reason for it. Do you think his tactics are somewhat warranted in this case?
Who, Detective Bryant's?
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. And to an extent, BMickey does as well. But to put that aside, BMickey also understands his placement, where he is in the organization, what Meech and Terry, and also where his mother is, you know what I'm saying, and what he has done, and you know what I'm saying, post to that, when it comes down to him killing his daughter and Kato at the same time. That's a lot of psychological warfare that he had to go through, understanding and hearing that. So when it came down to Detective Bryant using that as leverage towards BMickey, it was very tactical. It was very tactical and smart. So now, as BMickey as a character, he had to have listening eyes and be way more observant of how Detective Bryant was moving and what he can do to keep both sides secret from each other, of him playing that loyalty toward the aspect to Meech, and also to Detective Bryant, to not jeopardize BMickey's life and also his mother's as well.
So at this moment, who does BMickey trust?
Himself. That's the main thing. I feel like he can't trust anybody else. That's why Detective Bryant didn't get to Meech. And that's why Meech doesn't know anything about Detective Bryant.
So
yeah, go ahead.
So at this point, well, okay, where we are in the episode, Meech does know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that BMickey believes that he can ever build that trust back with Meech, knowing what happened?
I feel like that's something that he longs for, but you can't predict it. especially as a character and me knowing where mentally BMickey is, he's not too worried about anybody's trust at this point because it's been expelled already. You give me burial plots after they die, but you told me to kill Kato. You feel what I'm saying? Detective Bryant, you said you'll keep my mother okay, but now she's dead. So all that trust is out the door, and it's now more so I have myself. And how am I going to use that to my advantage? How am I going to pull certain things out of my arsenal to where I am protected? Not my mother, but my freedom and my life.
Okay, got it. So you mentioned that you love nostalgia. What
Yeah,
is what is it that you've learned about the late 80s and 90s through BMF?
man, uh, a lot. When it comes down to the cars, like I had me a 1964 Mustang, throughout the whole 2 seasons, and just being in and out of that car, every time sitting in those patent leather seats, I really felt like I was in 83. And that is just one of the tremendous experiences that I have filming these type of shows, because I get to educate myself on the everyday feelings of, you know what I'm saying, what people would have went through driving in that car, different exterior shots, driving through different bandos in Detroit. You know what I mean? The lingo, what up though? You know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to period pieces, I don't just do the period piece just to do it. I do it to educate myself and take what I grasp and move it on to the next. So and pointing to that New Edition story, that was in the 80s. I pulled from what I knew from the perms to the type of dance moves, to the type of clothing. I pulled that, and I transferred that energy to BMF, knowing what it was going to take, how you walk, how you talk, the mannerisms, all those things. It was very much fun for me, just having listening eyes towards all those things and be very observant, because as an audience member and people that are watching BMF, most of these people lived in that era or are coming from that city that we're portraying we're from. And I didn't want anybody to be watching it and be questioning what they're watching.
Got it. So along those lines, because this is based on a true story, but it's still a drama and we have to add in some spice to make things exciting, where we're at so far, how much of B. Mickey's story is sort of on the nose with the truth?
That's a great question, man. That's a great question. I wasn't fortunate enough to be as vocal with the person that I was portraying like everybody else was. Da Vinci had Terry. Meech got his father. You know what I'm saying? Lucille has McCall White. So when it comes down to me, I just really had to understand the context and the dialogue that was given to me into the script, and understand that this is a show that is true, based off true events, but additional things needed to be added for it to be entertainment. You know what I mean? And I know it was going to be very sensitive to BMickey, the real BMickey. I try to talk to him as much as I can, texting throughout, the weeks, just getting his input, going to his page, looking at the comments. And I defend him, man. I defend him. I know he wasn't a snitch. I know that. You know what I'm saying? If he was, he probably wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? And it was more of a mutual understanding of where both, and this is what I'm talking in real life. It was both a mutual understanding of where BMickey, Meech, and Terry were feeling with each other, but just an understanding though, and there's more to the story that really hasn't been told, because yes, these guys are incarcerated. Meech is still incarcerated. So that goes back to what can be told and what is given into the story to make it real and also entertainment in a sense. But yeah, like I don't know too much of what is true to when it comes to BMickey's character. All I know is that I tried my best to make it as authentic and real as possible for the audience to just like have a love for him rather than a hate, and that's still my main objective, to see him as a human being, not to see him as a snitch, you know what I'm saying? Not to see him as a killer, because easily anybody can be that in a show, and I hope, and that's another thing that's another statement that I want to hone down on, that people need to understand that anybody can be that in a show. So what else do you see in this character? So.